Jai Jagannath, Jai Radhe, here we are, Jai Shri Krishna. We are reading Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7. We were reading verses 12 to 13. So Krishna is speaking about the three gunas, the three material gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas, which are the basis, the material from which all the objects are made. Material objects, material situations, material mentality, both gross, physical, gross, and subtle, mental. So, verse 13 was saying, under the conditions of existence created by the three gunas, this world does not understand me, as I am inexhaustible and transcendental. So, the three gunas are typically material. So, as long as we are in a material conception mode, in material mode of understanding, we cannot understand the transcendental reality. Why it is called transcendence? Because it transcends the three gunas, transcends material manifestation. So, of course, as long as we are influenced by material mentality, we will not be able to understand the transcendental reality. Okay, so 14. Interesting. This is a very good verse, very famous. This divine energy of mine, manifesting as the three gunas, is very difficult to overcome, but those who take shelter in me can cross over this illusion. This is a very famous verse. Daivi hi esha gunamai mama maya duratyaya. Mameva ye prapadyante mayam etam taranti te. Taranti means crossover. It doesn't mean defeat. We can never defeat Maya because it's a divine energy. Daivi is divine. Gunamai, which is Mahamaya. Mama Maya, it's the energy of God. It's the magic of God. So, the Jivatma can never defeat Maya. So all those, funny people who say, oh, we are waging war against Maya, we will defeat Maya, Maya is a witch, Maya is this, they are stupid, because they are insignificant compared to the divine Shakti. So we can definitely take shelter in Krishna, but taking shelter in Krishna doesn't mean insulting the divine energy of Krishna. I've heard foolish people thinking like that, talking like that even. They think that if they show sufficient hostility to Maya, at least in words, or sometimes in misguided actions, they are pleasing Krishna. It's not going to work. What is the meaning, prapadyante? Means approaching, means taking shelter. What is the meaning of taking shelter and approaching? It means that we don't think about other things. We can actually approach, we enter the real Krishna consciousness. We understand that Krishna is everything. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurnabha. Krishna is everything. Vasudeva Vishnu is everything. So we don't need to think that anything is separate from Vishnu. This is specifically that offense in the chanting of the holy names that has been so badly mistranslated. The Purana actually says that it is offensive to separate the name of God, the name of Vishnu, Krishna, from the names of the Devas, the names of the Shaktis, the name of the Devas. It is offensive to separate them. Now, the translation they're giving is it is offensive to consider the Devas on the same level of Krishna. So it goes from, it is offensive to try to separate the Devas from Krishna. We got to the exact opposite. It is, for them, they say it is offensive to put the Devas together with Krishna. So, what we expect? Disaster, normally. So, verse 15. The evildoers, the foolish, the most degraded, those whose knowledge has been covered by delusion, and those who have chosen an asuric existence, do not approach me. Namam dushkritino mudha papalyante naradhama mayaya paritagyana asuram bhavam ashrita. So these are the 4 categories of people who never approach God, Vishnu. Evildoers, dushkritino, not the miscreants, the evildoers. The same, the dushkritina here in this verse, it's the same verse when Krishna says that the mission of the avatars is to destroy the evildoers. Paritranaya sadhanam vinashaya cha dushkritam. So the dushkritina are the evildoers, those who do things to hurt other beings. So anyone who is doing that is a dushkriti. The foolish, the mudha. And who is the mudha? Ahankara vimudhatva kartaham iti manyate. So the mudha, they just imagine, that the vimudhas are worse than the mudha. So the foolish, Krishna says, the imbecile, confused by the ahankar, thinks that he is doing stuff, he's doing the things. This is not true. That is foolishness. Nara Adhama, the lowest of human beings. Who are the most degraded? The most degraded are those who live in full tamas, or tamas and rajas, which is the angry lust, who don't care about anything or anyone. They just want to have control, power, gratification, whatever it takes. They don't care. These are the Naradhama, the lowest among human beings. There are, the Shastras explain that there are 400,000 human levels or species that are not determined by the DNA. They are determined by the guna and karma. So these are the lowest in the 400,000 list. Maya parita jnana. Typically, the jnani is supposed to understand and apply not only the theoretical knowledge but also the practical knowledge that is actually based on the fundamental principles of Dharma and Vidya. So people whose knowledge has been stolen by Maya are the academics, the people who are so confused and deluded that they think that what they're studying doesn't apply to them. In modern terms, it's called cognitive dissonance, cognitive bias. So when people read in the Shastra, they get the knowledge that the root of illusion, root of ignorance, is the identification with the gross physical body, which is, yeah, it is true, this is good jnana. But then they're so deluded that they cannot understand how they are supposed to put it in practice. So if they start making discriminations based on a bodily identification, prejudice, they're deluded, they're confused. Their knowledge, they have knowledge, but then they don't understand what this knowledge is supposed to mean, is supposed to do. So that's like, people who may be a walking Puranic encyclopedia, but they still think that God is as a material form. So when we are talking about, Brahma and Saraswati, they still believe that Brahma was trying to rape his daughter. They say, yeah, well, what's the big deal if I rape my daughter? Brahma is also doing that, Prajapati. We worship Prajapati, so, if he does that, I can also do that. They may know all the names of all the dynasties and the Vamsas and everything, but they are confused by Maya, by delusion. And those who have chosen an asuric existence, asuram bhavam ashrita. So those who actually deliberately choose to be asuras, still, and that applies, that, contains all the previous defects. The defect of doing evil acts, the defect of being foolish and ignorant, the defect of being degraded, and the defect of being of having knowledge that is covered by delusion. This is the each subsequent category is comprising the previous ones. Just like we have with the creation of the universe, we have the ether, and then we have the air, and then we have the fire, and then we have the water, and then we have earth. Earth contains all the other principles. So the air contains ether and air. The fire contains ether, air, and fire. The water contains ether, air, fire, and water. And the earth contains them all. So here, someone who has chosen the asuric mentality, asuram bhavam, they are evildoers, they're foolish, they're most degraded, and their knowledge has been covered by delusion. So then we go on with the, until now, no questions. It's can you still hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Am I audible?
Yeah, yes, no questions.
Yeah. No, no questions. No questions.
Actually,
That's it.
it's a little heavy. These verses are, quite heavy, but what to do? Anyway, 16. Arjuna, best of the descendants of Bharata. Four types of good persons worship me. One who is suffering, one who is inquisitive, one who wants some favor or benefit, and one who has knowledge. So, Chaturvidha bhajante mam, jana sukritino, Arjuna. So, anyone who can approach God is naturally a sukritina. It's a good person, someone who does good things. We saw before the Dushkritinas can never approach God because they have their own ideas on how to solve problems. But the Sukritinas, they only want to do good things. So, the Artha Jigyasur Artharthi, Jnani, Chabhratarshava. Artha means someone who is suffering. Artha without the H. Arto. Jigyasur is one who's seeking knowledge, searching for knowledge, information, understanding. He wants to understand. He wants to, have the answers to life questions. Artharthi is someone who wants something good. Artha means valuable. So we want God's help to get good things, valuable things. Could be a good relationship, could be a good job, could be the means to live decently, to have a good quality of life. It means maybe money. Why not? If you need money to pay the bills, if you need money. So Artharthi is not some special favor against other people, but is something that will help us, is good for us. Okay? So that's why we can say favor or benefit. So we have we have someone, they say that, even atheists become believers when the plane is falling down. Because Artha, we have Artha and Artharti in the same time, because we are suffering because we are scared. And we want, a good thing, which is life, which is an opportunity to continue living and keeping this body, because we still have a lot of things to do. Okay, so Jnani is one who has the knowledge. So someone who's looking for the knowledge, when they actually get the knowledge, they become even more eager to approach God. So the one who has knowledge actually can understand even better what he's looking for, what he's trying to approach. Okay, then we have 17. 717.
But here, one question I have.
Please.
Yeah. So, in case Jigyasu, like let's say he is looking for, but though he got some answers, but still he is not at the level of Jnani. He want more knowledge or more understanding or
Yes.
that sort of thing. So, he is not approaching God directly because whatever he is hearing, he want to maybe know more things. So, is it something that I don't know how to put it in words, but
I
let's say
think
we take
I
an
think
example.
I understand. I think I understand. I think that here the key is we need to understand what is God. Because God is knowledge. So we shouldn't think that approaching God means going to a temple. God is much bigger than that. So even if you want material knowledge and you approach a scientist instead of approaching a priest, still God is in that material knowledge. Am I interpreting your question correctly?
Yes, correctly, yeah.
Okay. So this is a problem because I've seen there is a lot of confusion on the subjects of material knowledge versus spiritual knowledge. Unfortunately, this confusion has come, as most confusion in religion, from the Abrahamic concept that is opposing science and religion. The Abrahamic concept is working on dogma. Means God says, because the Bible says, God says that He created the world in 6 days. And everyone is like, okay. Scientists say, okay, well, not really. But it's not true that God says stuff like that. That's not the Word of God. That's the word of someone who wrote the Bible. And even the God described in the Bible is not God. Because, you see, from what he says, what he does, it's clear that's not God. Now, Vedic religion, the original Hinduism, is not a religion in the Abrahamic sense. That is why lots of people say, no, Hinduism is not a religion. No, Hinduism is religion. Because if we forfeit, waive the definition of religion for Hinduism, we are waiving our religious freedom rights, legal religious rights. So we should not say Hinduism is not a religion. It's not just a religion. It's not a religion that is opposed to science. In fact, Hinduism, the original Hinduism, is science. Krishna never tells anyone to do something. In the Gita, Krishna is explaining, answering all the questions posed by Arjuna. Krishna is just giving suggestions. He says, if you cannot do this, you could at least do that. Then if you cannot even do that, you could at least do this other thing. There are no commandments in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is explaining scientifically what happens not only at material level, but what happens also at the spiritual level. So, we could say that Hinduism, and specifically Bhagavad Gita, is spiritual science. Why is spiritual science? Because we just get the concepts, then we apply them, we make the experiments, and we verify them personally, and then we go on. It's not based on faith. It's not based on faith. So it's not exactly the same type of concept of religion that is a globalized Abrahamic idea. So when we search for knowledge, we find that the Atman and Brahman are Sat, Chit, Ananda. What is the meaning of Chit? Chit means consciousness. Chit means knowledge. Brahman knows everything. All the knowledge is contained in Brahman. And as parts of the Brahman, we, as Atman, we also have access to all the knowledge, naturally. So what we need to do is we need to wash away the ignorance. And the knowledge will be there. But we need to understand, in order to wash away the ignorance, we need to understand, to recognize, to be able to tell the difference between knowledge and ignorance. Because otherwise, instead of throwing away the bath water, we throw away the baby and keep the dirty water. So how can we learn to distinguish, to tell the difference between knowledge and ignorance? We have the parameters of Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, and Paramatma. Everything we need to verify. So, when you are seeking for knowledge on physics, quantum mechanics, quantum physics, okay, you go to the physicist. But, the physicists today are discovering that everything is connected. The reality is a unified field of consciousness. Some of these, advanced physicists have defined the universe as a holographic brain. And that's the definition of Brahman. That's the definition of consciousness. Sat, Chit, Ananda. It's omnipresent and omniscient. Now the problem is that, as I sometimes commented, that Abrahamics talk about omniscience and omnipresence regarding their God, but they don't understand the concepts. Because the concepts of omnipresence and omnipotence is not in the Bible. Is not in any Abrahamic scripture or tradition. The concept of God being omnipotent and omnipresent only came very recently. And it came from the contact of the Mediterranean cultures with the Hellenistic heritage of those who studied from India. So, the Hellenistic philosophers, started only after the contact of the West with India. Now, if you go to an Abrahamic, okay, so if your God is omniscient, right, he knows everything. So what's the, he's omniscient, omnipotent, so why he doesn't make everybody his devotee naturally? Doesn't need you to go and convert people. It's everywhere, in the hearts of everyone. If he wants to do it, he will do it. So why, you need the moral police? What's the point? Why does your God need you to do his dirty work? And if there is, God is omnipresent, is also present there is nothing else outside God. How can you be outside God? How can there be the non-God? Nothing exists as non-God. So you cannot have two gods. Okay, let us say, only one God, monotheist. So who is Satan then? Who is the devil? Now we know from the Vedic knowledge that what they call devil is actually, a number of jivatmas, individual atmas who are confused by tamas and rajas, and they try to fight against God. See, for example, Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu, we know from the Puranas that he was, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha were the Jaya Vijay who were on Prapanchika Vaikuntha and working, doing service as doorkeepers. So they accepted the role of asuras so that Varaha and Nishinga could come and, show some lila. But Hiranyakashipu was never independent from God. Even if someone is an ordinary jiva, what to speak of an ordinary jiva? How can it have a power greater than God in this world? The idea of the devil, of Satan, is coming from the, Zoroaster, Zarathustra, who wanted to worship the Asura, so he turned everything upside down and said that the Asura is God and Hari Man is the devil, and the devas are the devils, But that's confused. That's ignorance. That's not. It's not true. God is everything. In fact, if we go on, we can. Let's see here. I think it's the next verse. Not the next. Here it is. Verse 19. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanaman mam prapadyate. Vasudeva sarvam iti samahatma sudurlabha. This is the actual vision. We see everything is Vasudeva. Vasudeva sarvam iti. Let's see. Krishna was talking about the jnani, right? So, and one who has knowledge. So we go verse 17. Of them, the person of knowledge who is constantly engaged in yoga and focused in devotion is the best. I am very dear to the jnani and he is very dear to me. Because when you actually get the proper knowledge, not the confusion, not the ignorant fake knowledge, but the actual knowledge, not the fake information, the real information. Where we find the real information? Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, and Paramatma. We need to keep verifying. So, the person of knowledge who is constantly engaged in yoga and focused in devotion is the best. I am very dear to the jnani and he is very dear to me. Then we go on and we see verse 18. All these are great souls because they are sukritinas, because they don't want to hurt anyone. They just want to be in a relationship with God. But the person of knowledge is verily the self. Yani Twatmaiva. Where is that? Yani Atma. Tu Atma Iva. Atma. Okay. This is my opinion. He is firmly situated and connected with the consciousness of the Atman. Therefore, he certainly attains me, the highest goal. Tvatmanaiva. Tva, tu Atmana. Tu Atmanaiva. Okay. It's the Atman, identified with the Atman. And here again, 19. Bahunam Janmanam Ante. After many lifetimes, Jnanavan, one who has knowledge. One, Jnanavan. Mam, to me. Prapadyate, approaches, attains. Vasudeva is everything. Such a great soul is very rare. After many lifetimes, one who has knowledge attains me, realizing that Vasudeva is everything. This is the point. If we understand that Vasudeva is everything, God is everything, God is also the knowledge on material things. Why not? The Vedic knowledge, in the Veda we have the Ayurveda, the Dhanurveda, the whatever Veda, the Shulba Shastra, mathematics and everything. Because God is all knowledge. Is that clear?
Yeah, clear.
Does it answer your question?
Yes.
Fantastic. Then we have, the highest goal. Vasudeva Savamiti. There. 20. Those whose knowledge is confused by a variety of desires approach other devas, and according to their nature, they follow the specific regulations. Kamais kamas tais. Okay, tire means these and those. Rita Gyana, which don't have sufficient knowledge. Prapadyante, respectfully approach. Anya Devata, other devas, other divine personalities. Tam niyamam, different rules, methods, regulations, vratas if we want. Asthaya, following. Prakritya, according to their own nature. Niyata, swaya, guided by themselves, by their own nature, their own, desire, hope, projection. For example, let's see, it is said, even Krishna says, even the Bhagavatam says, someone wants health, they should worship Surya. Someone wants wealth, they should worship Kuvera. Someone wants this and that, they can go. But what is the point? The point is that all the devas are not separate from God. They're not independent. They're not separate. So it's done because of lack of knowledge. And this lack of knowledge or confusion in knowledge is due to material desires. So they think that by approaching a different deva, they can get what they want more easily. A little like the shopkeeper mentality. You want to buy shoes, you have to go to the shoemaker. You want to buy milk, you have to go to the milkman. But that's not how it works, in fact. So what is happening is that all these blessings, all these desires we want fulfilled by the various devas are actually manifested by that meditation only. It's not that the Deva is bothered to give you something. It's the presence of the Deva in that type of consciousness that is within yourself, within your mind, that is giving you the energy, the power, the blessing, if you want, to achieve what you want to get. I know this is a very difficult concept because, it's so far removed from the materialistic mentality. Because it's easy, I want to pass the exam, I go to the temple, I break a couple of coconuts, and that's it. But, God doesn't care about you passing the exam or not. So it's not God that gives you the power of passing the exam. That power is already in you. But by meditating on God, specifically, let's say Saraswati. By meditating on Saraswati, you actually tune into the energy of Saraswati that is inside yourself. So your performance in the exam becomes better. It's not that God is, okay, Saraswati said, okay, 2 coconuts means, a pass grade. 3 coconuts, higher marks. That doesn't work like that. You heard about the concept of microcosm and macrocosm. You know what a microcosm is?
Like within our within ourselves and within the universe.
Exactly. So when we say that God is Paramatma, soul of our soul, okay, God, the Paramatma is sitting in our heart with everybody else, with all the devas. Because the devas cannot be separated from God. You have seen the Purusha, the Virat Purusha form. All the gods are there. All the devas are there. All the forms are there. So, God is not limited to one particular form, size, or whatever. So when we say God is inside our heart, everything is inside our heart. So when we pray, we don't need to pray in a temple. A temple is useful because it helps us focus on the deity that we see with our eyes. Because Manasa Puja is so much more difficult. It seems easier, but it's actually more difficult. Because we need a very solid mental focus to do Manasa Puja. Because otherwise, after a few seconds, our mind already is running away somewhere else. If we do physical puja, mechanically our body is getting trained, our mind is getting trained, so it's easier to stay in the puja. If you are just doing a meditation, how long can your mind go without running away? But the point, why is it said that Manasa Puja is so much more effective? Because it cannot be stopped or hampered, obstructed by any material condition. You can do it anywhere, anytime. And it's so much effective, because God is inside ourselves. We don't need to go outside. But it's very easy to forget that God is inside ourselves. So, those whose knowledge is confused by a variety of desires approach other devas, and according to their nature, they follow the specific regulations. Okay, this is a special facilitation that we get. Okay, but it's not the purpose. Here, whatever form the devotee wishes to worship with faith, I strengthen the determination by which he will become established in that method and Ishtadevata. So, contrarily to what many people think, Krishna doesn't say that one should not worship the devas. In fact, it says that it is God Himself that is strengthening the determination to worship that particular deva or form of God. Okay. And we have 22. Engaged in that faithful dedication, he worships that form he desires and obtains those blessings. But all this is arranged by me. So this means that God is not considering the other personalities of God as competition. God will never say, stop worshipping the devas. God will never say, offend the devas, insult the devas. Absolutely not. In fact, he says, Vishnu says, someone who's worshipping me but is disrespecting the devas, they're not, they don't know what they're doing. They're not really worshipping me, because Vishnu is always, in the material world, is always together with all the devas. The devas are just parts of the body of God. So, it is, someone who is worshipping Vishnu or Krishna and insulting the devas is like someone who thinks that, is showing special love for you if it's, kissing your face and beating your feet or your legs, what? It's stupid. If you want to show love for God, you have to, respect the entire body of God. Is that clear?
Yes.
Good. Any other question here? No.
No.
Okay. I believe that maybe we can stop here at
Okay.
22 and we continue next time.
Okay. Sure.
Thanks. Jai Jagannath.